Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat as the press conference is about to start. Before we begin, may I ask you to turn your devices to silent. We have translation available in English, French, and Italian. I would like to welcome the medalists from women's volleyball competition. It is my pleasure to introduce the silver medalists from the United States of America with head coach Harsh Karali and captain Jordan Poulter. This is the 5th medal in a row in the women's tournament for the 5th successive Olympic Games for the USA. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. Please state your name, your organization, and who your question is directed to. The floor is now open to questions. Questions? Sorry.
Jordan, if you could just tell us a little bit about your Olympic experience and what you're going to come away with from Paris.
Yeah, I think for those of us who had the fortune of being in Tokyo, I think this was definitely more of what we envisioned a typical Olympic experience to be, and I think the city of Paris did a phenomenal job putting this on. I really hope LA can top it. I will be very curious to see how they do. But just being in a city with so much history and so much culture, I love how beautifully they integrated the sports into their, into their history. So I will walk away being very proud that we were able to play on the last day of competition. And I think it feels even more sweet to us because of just all that we have gone through as a team in the last 3 years, 2 months, even the last 2 to 3 weeks. Was not the way that I think anyone envisioned it looking, but I'm really proud of how, if anything, we committed to just trying to move through things, whether it was, putting aside our individual and collective experiences, and we were able to come out playing our best volleyball, I think, throughout this tournament, which is where I had hoped we would eventually get to at the end of this quad.
Next question. Here, please.
Question for either of you. Can you just describe a little bit about what makes this team so special to you? Just kind of going off BJ's question, but like looking back at the entire Olympic experience, obviously with your injury, kind of like the support that maybe they've given you?
Yeah, I think what makes this group so special is we each individually have had different things to overcome. And so for me, it was my knee injury. For others, it was also injuries. For some others, it was maybe releasing, a little bit of expectation or just, I don't know. All of us have had to really dig deep and I guess want to lean into something bigger than ourselves. And through that, we grew closer as a unit up until, this last match. And I'm really proud of these women and being able to put aside our differences and being able to believe in something, which we found that belief, I think, very late compared to a lot of teams, and it's really cool how far it got us.
Next question. Here, please.
This question is for Karch, Stephen Munson, USA Volleyball. Karch, you've been a part of some great teams, both as an athlete and a coach. What about this team specifically makes it so unique and so special in your eyes and your perspective?
I think Jordan has summarized it well, but this is probably not how. This was not plan A or plan L. I think we were on X, Y, or Z by the time we got to today. We had a plan to start with. We were down 2-0 against China. Avery and Catherine Plummer. Avery and Plum came in and brought some real firepower and some grit and boldness, and all of a sudden this team evolved. And if we lose that match 3-0, we might be going home the day after the French match a week ago, 7 days ago. And instead we fought back, had that match in our grasp, fought through another really tough one against Serbia, played a good match against Poland, and a really tough semifinal. But all of those pushed us to the absolute limit. And I don't know if it was a surprise, but we just hadn't been able to be together as a unit much. With somebody like Annie Drews not available for VNL weeks 1 and 2, or Kelsey. And for Catherine Plummer and Jordan Poulter not to be available for weeks 3 and finals week. So there were all these different pieces missing for health and other things. So we hadn't really had a chance to be pushed to the limit to learn what we could do. So it was absolutely awesome to see that when we got pushed to the limit, to see how capable this group was, how much resolve it had, how much grit it had. That was probably the best thing to learn during these Olympics. Was I love that we got, that's what the Olympics are all about. You get pushed to your limit and beyond, and the way this group responded was phenomenal. And I said it a few minutes ago, but it's a little bittersweet because the team that wins the gold medal just came off winning. The team that won the bronze medal just came off winning their last match. The one medalist team that doesn't get to stand up there and receive their medals while coming off a win is the silver medalist team. So there is a bittersweetness about that, but this group has done phenomenal things in these 17 days. And I don't know that we knew how much we had in us, and we showed, and it gives me goosebumps, and it's been awesome to see it evolve so quickly.
Question here.
Is it true that you have a 5 a.m. bus to the airport and you're going to New York?
I think it's 4:30.
I think mine is 3:45. So.
Archer, are you going with the team to New York?
No, I get to be on for quite a number of weeks. We all had trips back to the U.S. planned for tomorrow, and the U.S. OPC was talking about being on the quote, the flag flight. And I was like, what's the flag flight? Just figured, well, maybe it's a flagship aircraft of Delta. Well, it's actually passing the flag, the Olympic flag from Paris. It is getting flown to Los Angeles. This is the passing of the flag to the next Olympic city. And so a lot of our people, including Jordan, were on that flight, but they're going to do something more fun, and that is do a bunch of media activities in New York, which we're extremely happy about because none of that got to happen 3 years ago, and it's a deserving crew. And so she had to, several of them had to bail on the flag flight, but some of us are getting to ride with the flag on the way to Los Angeles. How fantastic is that?
Jordan, what have they told you you're going to do in New York? Do you know?
I have heard whispers. I haven't seen a set itinerary. I was told that the Today Show, Tuesday morning, maybe the Empire State Building, and a dinner is what I've heard whispers of so far. It's really cool. It's cool for our program to have, won a silver medal at this Olympics, and then so many of us are coming back to the States this fall and this spring and getting to play for League One volleyball in America. And you can, so I don't know, so much of this final match for us was kind of like full circle because I think everyone except one on our roster of 13 have played in Italy professionally for the majority of our careers. And so it just feels really, I don't know, it feels really cool to know that we are going to try to get the ball rolling and inspire, the next generation of athletes to be able to stay home in America and get to play in front of their friends and family and hopefully become the next major league.
Last questions? Right, in the back, please.
Thank you for taking question. I am Masaki Karaya from Kyoto News Japan. My question for coach: How has volleyball progressed in this Olympic cycle in these 3 years?
How has volleyball what?
Progressed.
Progressed. I think you're seeing the game on the women's side become more and more physical. You see the serving of somebody like Paola Egonu and the other Italian opposite, Ekaterina Antropova, with her hybrid serve. So there's some really interesting things going on in volleyball, and certainly Paola is an extremely physical player and hits shots that most people cannot hit. So that requires really well-planned block and defense. And but I think the physical level of the game on our side, people like Avery Skinner and Catherine Plummer brought I guess a more physical aspect to our offense also. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest progressions that the sport's going through. And another one Jordan just touched on, and that is the explosion of volleyball inside the United States. With the Olympics coming in 4 years, it's a really exciting time with new professional leagues like League One, and so many of our American Olympians excited to participate in that, and stakeholders in that to help it grow to be the best league possible, with the aspiration to make it the best league on the planet. And there are some great ones out there in Italy, in Turkey, and elsewhere. But we're really excited to see what's going to happen in the next few years. So that's going to be a big progression too, to go from no professional volleyball in the U.S. to a situation where it might start attracting a lot of the world's best players from many different countries, as the Italian and Turkish leagues have previously been attracting all of the American players.
Are there any further questions online? Okay, all right, thanks, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes this press conference.
Thank you.